Global warming. We all know about it. We all know it means bad news for our planet. But what will the specific effects be? How is it caused, and what can we do about it? Global warming, by definition, is a gradual increase in the overall temperature of the Earth's atmosphere, generally attributed to the greenhouse effect, caused by increased levels of carbon dioxide, CFCs, and other pollutants. So, what is the greenhouse effect? Imagine a greenhouse. Shortwave radiation from the sun enters through the glass panels on the roof. This heat is absorbed into the ground, then re-emitted as long-wave radiation into the air inside the greenhouse. This type of heat cannot pass back through the glass panels, effectively being trapped inside. Therefore, the greenhouse warms up, creating the ideal conditions for plants to thrive. It works the same way in our atmosphere. The heat enters our atmosphere and is absorbed and re-emitted by Earth's surface. Greenhouse gases in our atmosphere reflect some of the heat back to Earth, once again trapping it in the atmosphere. This is a natural process that has existed on Earth for millions of years and has kept our planet at a comfortable temperature for life to thrive. Well, it's important to understand that global warming isn't caused by the greenhouse effect. It's caused by the enhanced greenhouse gas effect. So, what is the enhanced greenhouse gas effect? The enhanced greenhouse gas effect is the name for the excessive amount of heat being trapped in our atmosphere since the Industrial Revolution. This is due to more greenhouse gases being present in our atmosphere. More greenhouse gases mean more heat reflected back to Earth. These extra greenhouse gases have been emitted by human activities on Earth, like burning fossil fuels, farming animals in mass numbers, and deforestation. Burning fossil fuels releases carbon stored for millions of years in natural resources like coal and oil into our atmosphere. Another greenhouse gas you may have heard of is methane. Farm animals like cows release this gas in astonishing numbers each year. Humans need space for all their animals to graze, so often forests are cut down. Trees, which are a natural carbon store, are cut down, releasing their stored carbon into the atmosphere, furthering the problem. All three of these causes of global warming can actually be traced back to our increasing population. We require more energy, food, and space than ever before. This demand will only grow, causing our planet to warm drastically more each year. This impacts our ocean temperatures and levels. The Earth's surface, including the ocean, is absorbing a lot of that extra heat found in our atmosphere, a huge 80% to be exact. This causes several problems. First, that the ocean's temperature is rising. In turn, this causes ice and glaciers to melt, shrinking the north and south poles, causing sea levels to rise. Another impact of the ocean absorbing heat from the atmosphere is thermal expansion. Thermal expansion is when the seawater heats up, moving its molecules faster, spreading them apart. This causes the ocean to expand. About 50% of the past century's rise in sea levels is actually due to thermal expansion. Altogether, sea levels have risen 10 to 20 centimeters in the past century alone. That doesn't sound like such a big deal, but with sea levels rapidly increasing at a steady rate, that number could quickly rise, submerging many coastal regions of the world and even entire island countries. The more greenhouse gases we emit, the higher sea levels will rise, and over the past century, we've been emitting more and more of these gases every day. First of all, what are the effects of the sea level rise on animals? The animal that probably immediately comes to mind when you think of sea level rise is a polar bear. But in fact, there are millions of species that will be affected by sea level rise, whether they live in the poles or not. Many animals live near the coastline, and their natural habitats will be destroyed when sea levels rise, submerging their homes. As well as this, there can be other impacts, like on the food chain, because everything from a tiny grasshopper to a ferocious panther, each and every animal plays a part. Even those who could appear to have no purpose may feed an animal that is the prey to a much larger species. therefore having a much bigger role than they seem. If this animal was to go extinct, the whole food chain would be thrown off balance, causing drastic effects within the ecosystem. Of course, animals that depend on ice for survival, like polar bears and seals, will be completely devastated. To conclude, not just the seemingly insignificant creatures or the ice-dwelling creatures of Earth will be affected by sea level rise. In fact, almost every single living thing on the planet will be affected by global warming and sea level rise. That includes us. What are the effects sea level rise will have on people? The predicted effects of sea level rise on humans are pretty daunting. Firstly, the seawater could contaminate our water used for farming, drinking, and other daily activities, causing massive complications. Secondly, perhaps the most obvious effect of sea level rise is loss of land. Just like animals, many of us live on the coast. To be exact, around 40% of the world's population lives within 100 kilometers of the sea. Many of these people will lose their homes and have to immigrate further inland. This will push the world's population into a smaller area, the sea taking away space that our overcrowded world doesn't have. We would likely have to cut down more trees, which would only increase the enhanced greenhouse gas effect, adding to the rise of sea levels, forcing us to commit more. It's a vicious circle. Less space could also mean wars over land, famine from lack of farming space, and a whole host of other problems. Summary: unless we can design and build an enormous spaceship that'll hold and sustain billions of humans and enable us to escape to space, like in the movie WALL-E, we should probably start thinking about a solution to global warming and sea level rise. So, what can we do about it? Now that we have explained what we've done wrong, let's look to the future and ask the question, what can we do right? Good news is, it's not too late. We now all know what is causing ocean sea levels to rise, so in theory, we should be able to come up with at least a few good solutions. First of all, we can take advantage of clean, sustainable fuel sources. Instead of fossil fuels, we can utilize hydroelectric, wind or solar energy to power our homes. By doing this, we would be decreasing the amount of greenhouse gases that we are releasing into our precious atmosphere. Another huge source of carbon dioxide today is transportation, accounting for almost 30% of global greenhouse gas emissions. By taking advantage of public transport, using alternative green fuels, walking and biking, we can cut back our greenhouse gas emissions hugely. We can also try minimizing the amount of meat we are consuming. This would decrease the amounts of space and food needed for animals, as well as greatly reduce the world's methane emissions. Now, I'm not saying that everyone needs to become a complete vegan or anything, but we could all at least try having a more vegetable-based diet. The alternative is eating crickets. They take up way less space to farm, they're nutritional, and can be incorporated into a number of dishes. Okay. Baby steps, right? In any case, we have all the resources we need to combat global warming, sea level rise, and its effects. We just need to take action. As Terry Swearingen once said, we are living on this planet as if we have another one to go to. So let's all get together and we can take action on climate change.